Welcome to your favorite show, Pink and Purple. My name is Thembie Phiedarh and I'm your host. So today on the show, we want to tackle a very interesting topic about sex, baby. Let's talk about, okay, let me not get carried away because I do have in studio two beautiful ladies who are going to help us discuss how far we can talk about sex between parents and their children. Mrs. Violet, Masuku, and Langelihle Bulle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Would you like maybe to tell us more about yourself?
Yes. I am a mother of four. Mm-hmm. I have one girl and three boys. Right. The girl being the first one, 15 years. Mm-hmm. The boy is 12. The other one is 10. And the last one is 5 years old.
Okay, all right, lovely. Langa?
Okay, I'm a 22-year-old student.
Okay.
Well, I've actually started a bit of psychology, mm-hmm. which actually leads me to have some interest in how we live in today as young people.
Okay, all right, interesting. I like that what you're studying is in relation with what we want to discuss today, and we will go straight into the topic of sex. You know, for the longest of time, I couldn't say sex when I was in high school, and it's still hard now, but what's your view? The moment you hear the word sex, Mrs. Masuku, you know, sex talk, rather. Well, what's your comment on that?
Well, my comment about sex is, in my home, since I have children,
yes,
it is totally a taboo.
Okay.
It's a word that we cannot talk about. Mm-hmm. Even with my daughter who's 15, mm-hmm. I feel that it's something that I can't talk to her about. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I know that in schools they've already started talking about it.
Right.
From an early age of about grade 1, mm-hmm. 5 years. Mm-hmm. For me, it doesn't work.
Okay. Why?
Yeah. It's just a difficult topic to talk about. That's mm-hmm. why long ago when we were growing up, mm-hmm. our parents never spoke to us about sex.
Yeah.
You would be sent to an aunt, and mm-hmm. you were just not sent at a young age.
Right.
You were sent to an aunt when you were about to get married.
Okay.
But nowadays, it's everywhere. Mm. And it scares me.
All right.
So in my home, I try as much to limit it.
Okay.
And as I said, it is taboo.
All right. And you still don't want to hear about it.
I don't want to hear about it.
Okay, Langa, what's your take on sex?
Well, actually, as she stated it, she says it's a taboo. Mm-hmm. When they were growing up, they didn't talk about it. Mm. But as it is happening right now, we're talking about it in schools where we learn the songs that we listen to, R&Bs, or the word is no longer that scary to actually mention.
Okay.
We talk about it. So for us, it's no longer that uptight for us to talk about it.
Okay.
We plainly talk about it. Right. Because it's something that is practiced.
Well, what do you talk about when you talk about sex? You're saying you plainly talk about it. What is it that you're talking about? And who are you talking to about sex?
Well, we're talking to our peers.
Okay, all right.
Because our parents do not have that room mm-hmm. to talk to us about it. Mm-hmm. So, when we're talking about it as peers, we talk deep in a way.
Okay.
So it's more of others talking about their experiences already.
All right.
This is what happened to me when I did this. Mm-hmm. Last night, this is what happened. Mm-hmm. So it's more like it's explicit.
Okay.
In our world now.
All right. Mrs. Masuku, coming back to you, you still seem to be like shocked to say, what? You kids talk about this.
Yes.
But you learned sex education, I'm sure, when you were in high school, right?
Yes, high
what
school.
Was it like compared to, you heard about it before you heard it from your auntie, like you're saying, you were not about to get married, but you were taught sex education in high school. What were you told?
Well, when we were in high school, we were taught of the reproductive systems, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. But we were not taught the actual act of sex.
Okay.
You understand? Mm-hmm. That even in class when the teacher would say, okay, there's the gender where they have to say sex, female, mm-hmm. male. That word to us also, it was taboo.
Okay.
So the level that we learned about sex is not that very high like it is right now.
Right.
So to me, it's still...
But are you aware that you have a 15-year-old daughter, right? And she's learning that and so much more explicit things from her peers.
I'm very aware. Mm-hmm. I had this experience just a day before the schools opened. Mm-hmm. I'm walking in town and then someone comes to me and says, are you aware that your daughter was involved in some naughty stuff? I was wondering, my own daughter, the one I gave birth to,
Yes.
where we never even talk about it.
Yes.
They were talking, and then I further went to ask, what was it about? Spin the bottle.
Okay. All right.
The way I looked at her, if that person had not asked me to not react in any way, I think I was going to kill her. Because I can't imagine my own daughter, she's 15, playing such games. But well, it's happening.
Okay.
So what can I do?
All right. We'll get into detail about that. Lang, I want you to comment briefly on how you will relate to your parents as a young person talking about sex. Mrs. Masuku is saying that for her, her daughter hearing she was playing spin the bottle is not okay with her. So for you, how do you relate with your parents talking about sex, if you do talk to your parents about it?
Well, actually, as for me, my experience is we don't talk about it.
Okay.
The only thing that I know is my dad has the heart to actually say, if you practice sexual intercourse, you get HIV and you can get pregnant, all those things. But for them to actually teach us exactly what happens out there, they don't. So when we're looking at the root of it, I remember when my young sister was born, my mama brings the baby at home and she says, we bought the child. And then later on you're going to school and they're telling you, no, the child is not born. And then you're actually curious. Where does the child come from?
Yes.
You understand? But then for them to actually sit us down and talk about it, they don't. At the same time, we want to ask. We have questions.
Yeah.
So what happens to us? We go to those who are willing to listen.
Okay.
And as much as Mrs. Masuku was saying, they were taking to aunties. We don't know that anymore.
Yes,
we don't know anything called
them.
aunties talking to us. So at the end of the day, we have to learn on our own.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, when we learn on our
You're
own,
learning the wrong way.
we're learning the wrong way and we're learning the wrong things.
Okay.
And then we are curious to practicing what we've learned.
Interesting.
But as a mother, right, let's say I'm your mother, would you want me to actually teach you the actual, how? I can't
Okay, all right, let's
imagine
get
that.
into detail about that after this break. Viewers, join us after these messages. We are talking about sex between parents and children, how far we should go in discussing the topic. Welcome back to the show. You're still watching Pink and Purple, and we're having a heated conversation with Violet and Langa. You were just about to ask her a question before we took a break.
Yes. I was saying, Langa, do you actually want me, my baby, to actually teach you the actual thing? What is it exactly that you want from me as a parent? Because I don't see myself doing that.
Actually, what we actually really, really want from you is to know beyond what you just say. If a girl and a boy just, it's like you're speaking in riddles. We don't really know exactly what you're talking about. We don't understand. And as much as we know, we see outcomes. We see babies being born. We hear about HIVs, STIs are happening. And at the same time, maybe, actually, I think the implication of fear would work if you told us what happens and then show us the results.
Exactly. This is where I'm going to say, you just need to know the results. You don't need to know the actual actual act, how it's got to done. I will teach you that, right? If you have this thing, that's the way I'll put it, right? I will not say that word. You get HIV. You get STIs. I'll actually download those pictures where gonorrhea, syphilis.
Yeah. But they see those pictures in their textbooks in schools. They are taught about that. And do you realize also that, Mrs. Masu, you're not, I wouldn't say, you're not my mom's age, like above 16 and stuff. You're a modern woman, right?
I am.
And you have a 15-year-old daughter here. You want to raise her the way you were raised.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Despite what is happening in this generation now. Despite that, she's still going. You did say you got a phone call that she was playing
Spin the bottle.
Spin the bottle. Truth or dare. I dare you to kiss this guy. Things like that. You would rather keep getting messages like that than dealing with the actual thing.
You see, now that the topic of spin the bottle has come in, right? I now have to understand which position she was in, because it just can't happen. I just can't imagine myself talking to my daughter about sex. But now that spin the bottle has come in, I think I would now enter. Because when she did that...
What if it's too late?
It can't be.
No, it can.
It
because
can't.
she's been playing spin the bottle. You haven't told her anything about sex, right? And here she is. She's 15. This is like, I don't know what century and what generation it is, but she's not about to just listen to you saying, don't.
Yeah.
You need to tell her exactly why. Would you rather do it now? Wouldn't you rather do it now, than later when she's pregnant or something?
No, the later part is not what I want. Maybe I would end up talking to her now, but it's very difficult. I just can't open up and start talking to her because it's me and her dad. Yeah. If I start speaking to her about Ugang, auntie,
and you're not going to say sex.
No, I'm not.
Ugang,
if I start speaking to her about Ugang, how will she look at me now? That's my fear. How will she look at other couples to say, okay, this is what they do.
Don't you think she knows that already? Langa, what's your comment on that?
Well, I've been so burning to speak. Actually, she's afraid of saying it. She's afraid of talking to her about it. That's where it comes in. They do not understand. They do not know what we want. They don't even ask us about what we want. Do you understand? So at the same time, we have no relationships with our parents anymore.
Okay.
We have no relationship. Our parents are always at work. They wake up in the morning. They don't have time to even talk to us about anything at all. And that, because there's no that relationship, it's also difficult for us to go to our parents and actually ask what's happening.
Right.
And also, there are stages. There are ages. You have infants. These ones, they know nothing with the primary. They just... the primary ones, you talk about... production and whatever that is happening, and then we have high school, we have the textbooks they're teaching us, but look at us, we're also in tertiary education, and you cannot be telling us about ukuganga. We know what it is.
You just reminded me, let me take you back to when you were playing amatope with your cousins or whatever. There was umama lobaba, right? Yes. And there was always someone guarding and watching. Let's hope no one comes to see us. Weren't you already aware of sexual activities then?
We were not sure what is really happening. We had an idea. Why? Because you would say when you are entering your mom's bedroom, they would say, no, mana, So we didn't know what was happening in there. We would play amatope as if other children. But for us, we would play amatope, and then we'll come out and say,
And you still want your 15-year-old to know that you bought the other kids.
Well, now it's very difficult for her to know that I bought, because she actually knows, right? But I prefer her to know, but not through me.
Okay.
As a modern parent, not through me. This is me. I don't know for other parents, but for me, because my Bible tells me that sexual immorality is a sin.
Right.
And in the Bible, when a woman used to have sex before, or even when a woman goes out of marriage and has, is it adultery or fornication, they were stoned to death.
All right.
Meaning it's a serious thing. So I wouldn't want to be the one teaching my daughter, even if the situation tells me that I have to be.
I like that you've mentioned religion, and which is also linked to culture. Don't you feel also, Langa, we are defying culture when it comes to having our parents talk to us and not going to our aunt instead?
Well, when we're going back to culture, as we know, maybe if we'd stick back to culture, all this wouldn't be happening. Because our culture say that a woman should be fully dressed, right? So that she does not attract men out there. But today, how are we dressing up? We're dressing in a way that says, calls men, please, come to me.
Do you know men come even when you're wearing a long dress?
Yes, but not as much.
You think so?
Yes. Not as much.
Today's kids, today's kids, I'm telling you, they will be putting on clothes up to here. And so I blame parents.
Okay.
Because if a child is coming out of the home almost naked, what are you saying? us parents, we are losing it there. Or sometimes the child,
so we should start talking to our kids from the way they dress,
yes,
which leads to sexual.
Exactly.
But
Okay.
at the same time, they have to, like she says, she's a modern woman, right? We're talking about today. What is happening today? How deep should it go, right? The conversation.
Yes.
And at what age should it start? I
Yes.
think they should also look at how much has she grown? Can she understand what I'm talking about?
Right.
Because you can take a 10-year-old and she does not understand. And it's not everybody who matures the same age.
Right.
You might find a 10-year-old who is mature already and a 10-year-old who just still a baby.
Okay.
So you have to look at us at how much we've matured.
All right, okay. We'll discuss this in more detail after these messages. Welcome back to the show. You're still watching Pink and Purple, and we're continuing with the discussion on how far sex talk should go between parents and children. And Langa, you mentioned before we took a break earlier that there's infants, there's 10-year-olds, there's 15-year-olds. And Violet, I want you to comment on who is sexually active looking at those ages. Who are we talking about? Oh my gosh. Did you? None. No, but you did say 10-year-olds, right? We hear stories of 13-year-olds being sexually active. We hear stories of 20-year-olds. Yes, getting pregnant. Yes. So who are we addressing at home at what age when we're talking about sex for you?
Well, for me, I would start, of course, with my daughter because the generation that we're in, you read these stories, we see it in our communities where a little girl is pregnant at 13. It's a very scary thing. So maybe I'll start from 15 going up, Form 3s and going up. But it's not an easy thing to just talk about it. Yeah. Because you don't know what she will do after talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Langa, do you feel that your parents should have spoken to you when you were 12 or 13 or probably started menstruating about sex?
Well, actually, my parents did lay a good foundation for me.
Right.
So, but when speaking from the perspective of young people, yes, the foundation is what is really important and the building of the relationship between parents and children. So that can be easy for them to communicate when the time comes.
Okay. And looking at Mrs. Masuku, right? Who is hard to approach, the parent or the kid?
Well, I also feel that it's difficult to approach the parent. Yes.
So you'd rather have your parent coming to you, but she's not going to come talk to you. Like she said, I am not.
Well, we also, I think maybe we have to meet halfway then. Okay. I don't know how that can happen. But
all right.
We've got to try.
Let's say your 15-year-old daughter, sorry to keep using her,
It's
she's
fine.
watching.
It's okay.
Right. She comes to you, Mom, I have a boyfriend. Right. What happens next?
Wow. Well, I'd rather prefer she goes and tells the dad than me.
The dad.
I don't know how I'll handle it. Because I'll ask her, what are you doing with the boyfriend? What do you need the boyfriend for? Don't you need a girl? You can have friends, but not a boyfriend.
So she should go to her dad.
Yeah.
Is this because she has a better relationship with her dad?
I think she has a better relationship with the dad than me.
Okay, but consider that she does have hormones, right? And obviously, if she's with that boy, she does feel some type of way. Confirm, Langa?
True.
As a young person?
Yes.
We all had hormones, but those hormones are not there for you to display. You know, there should be a way that you hide it. When we had boyfriends at a tender age, even if the boy would pass through our gate, you know very well that that's your boyfriend. You won't even snitch or even do anything. So I prefer that she hides her and she hides the hormones very well because we're
How do you hide? How do I hide the way I feel
just
about
hide
a man?
it. And why would you show it to me? Because it's a sign of disrespect.
Okay.
For me, it's a sign of disrespect. Hide your hormones. I might know that she might have a boyfriend, but I do not want to.
So are you saying that talking about sex issues between parent and child is disrespectful? Because hormones does include, right?
Yeah, but how about if we show it to you, then you can lead us and tell us, no, you have to do it this way. Try to do this or do that, so that they do not pop out like that.
Do what? What are you doing?
No, like
how do I
hormones,
control my
right?
hormones? I think that's what she's asking, right?
Yes.
Tell me, how am I supposed to control my hormones?
Well, I don't know how to answer that question, but what I say is hide your hormones. If you have somewhere to show them, maybe show them between the two of you, but don't show the parent.
But how about me telling you how I feel now when we start menstruating, when the boy is going for wet dreams, things like that, we start feeling some ways. Then I tell you, Mama, this is how I'm feeling.
Yes.
How am I supposed to deal with that? Because at the end of the day, if I don't talk to you as my mother, I'll go to my friend and tell my friend, this is how I'm feeling. And they will actually mislead me.
Well, that's a valid point. She's coming too strong on me now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think what I would do with that situation when she has come the way she has come, I think I'll just have to start talking about it.
All right.
But I'll be very uncomfortable talking about it.
All right.
Yeah.
As we round up the show, there's an issue of family planning and virginity testing and stuff like that. What's your comment on that quickly as we close the show?
Well,
when it comes to young girls, of course.
Well, when it comes to young girls, well, I've seen what it has done for us. Well, as it has been introduced, we've seen a lot of abortions happening. We've seen a whole lot of things. Well, it affects us also as young people. We wish it cannot happen, but it's happened. It's been displaced in front of us. But as it is, we know that we're all different and we all have different parts and different decisions in making. But we do need our parents' guidance in that.
Okay. And Violet, what do you have to say as we close the show?
Well, for family planning, I would actually say it's a total no. Because the moment I introduce family planning, I am simply trying to tell you that, please go ahead, you can be using this. So I would actually go for the virginity testing, and I'll make sure it's every month.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been lovely having you.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you for watching Pink and Purple. From me, Thembie Phiedarh, and the crew behind the scenes. It's goodbye.